Adjusting my camera. Welcome to another episode of Midlife Moxie. I'm Gail.
And I'm Jen.
And today we're going to talk about style, but from the perspective of what we're really seeing go on out there. What's really made it to the stores? What are people really wearing? What's really available to you? Because in the spring, when we give our little style update of what's coming in our Pantone colors, that's all well and good, but it is theory, and we talk about that at the time. But just to remind you, these are forecasts, and the fashion industry and the color industry puts out these forecasts, but that doesn't always make it to retail. Some things make it, some things don't, and some things just wander in and were never forecasted, but they take on a life of their own. So today we thought we'd kind of give you a spin of, what's really out there? What can you really be looking for? What's really working for our clients? What colors have really come down out of that palette? And there's a lot of color, Jen, this season.
I'm actually I'm super excited about this episode because I gotta tell you guys, like Gail is on top of what's happening out in the stores and in online shopping because this is what she does. She's a personal stylist. She's an image consultant. She helps her clients literally like basically transform their wardrobes, and she takes photos and shows me, look at all the organized, and this is what she does. Although I am a color expert, I gotta tell you, I'm not always on top of the style trends and what's out there. I'm just not a shopper like Gail is. Gail shops. She loves to shop. So getting what's inside her brain and sharing it with us on this episode is, I mean, golden. This is golden. So
I think that's
I'm
why they're the
really
dynamic
excited.
duo. I can talk what's out there, and you're going to talk about how this works and why it's out there. So,
Yep.
one of the colors I want to really talk about is orange, and we are talking about that in our Style Masters group this month. But the cool thing about orange is it's really being seen everywhere in a way that I don't remember before. And if you want to give our listeners kind of a little, because I know the minute we said orange, some of them turned, both of them probably, both our listeners
No,
probably
there's
turned off their
three.
ears.
There's
Oh,
three.
there's three now. Oh, yeah, that's right. Somebody else told us.
There's
Oh, wait, somebody this weekend said they started listening. So
Yeah,
now we're up to
that could be
four.
four. Could
Could
be
be
four.
four. I know y'all hear orange, you go, whoop, not for me, checked out. But we think differently, right, Jen?
You know what? And for the Style Masters, we did something very unique, and definitely a stretch in the comfort zone because in general, right? Orange is a warm color. It is made with a lot of yellow. It is a color that is really designed for people with warm undertones. So if you are someone with cool undertones, you might be thinking, well, that's great for you. Orange is not for me. Thanks, but no thanks. And we found a version of an orange color for cool undertones. Now, we will say it definitely leans more towards the reds and pinks, but honestly, on its own, if you see it in the store, you still translate it to a version of orange. So there's an orange for everybody. There's an orange for everybody.
That what we're talking about, those oranges that can be a little cooler ones that have had more red or red and something else like red and white, which is pink added to it. And that's how we get some of those coral tones. And
Yeah,
we're, for the purposes of our clients, we kind of call warm pink into the orange zone because that is their orange. And we use that language a lot with our group, right, Jen?
right.
This is your version of orange. It may not be tangerine, but
Right.
it gives you something. And so if you were going to an event, and we see more and more this day. I don't know what's going on with requiring people to wear certain colors to events, but it's getting a little bit like strange. Like I'm like, you've got to wear what? And sometimes that's not my client's best color. Like they're
Right.
going and there's a white party. Well, white looks terrible on them, but we can find their white. We can find their orange, like if it's a theme.
Yep.
So you can fit in. So just let me tell you, what I'm seeing in the stores is every color you can imagine of orange, from that very, very bright,
Yes.
like if you took the brightest version of apricot, like put neon to apricot, it's almost a yellow orange, which is a very strange color to see in the marketplace, but it's out there. I even found it in shoes this weekend, and I'd seen it in a swimsuit. And we're going all the way to those deep russet oranges
Right.
without shopping with a client who happens to be bright, warm, deep. And there was so much for her in that color. And which is great because she looks amazing in it. But there's coral, there's almost every version out there. So like we talked before, it's going to come down to how you wear it and also the garment you choose. So maybe if it doesn't look best up towards your face, like we always say, wear it on the bottom. Like you
Right.
could wear a lovely pair of coral pants on the bottom and a hot pink top if you're bright and cool. I would totally do that. And just remember to always adapt your makeup when it's a color like red or an orange or a pink. That makeup really needs to blend in because those are the main kind of makeup colors we wear. And it just, you do need to shift that. So don't overlook that.
And
So another color that is just having a moment like I've never seen before is yellow.
really,
It
now I
was
know
even
that there was a like a marigold kind of a yellow. Is that the yellow you're talking about?
a lot of different yellows, but primarily this butter yellow,
Yeah.
sunshine yellow, and
Mhm.
even made it to the Met Gala. Like, they were talking about that,
Yes.
how butter yellow is having a moment. And, that's at the very highest end of, haute couture and runway fashion. They're talking about butter yellow. And then I'm seeing it at your mall retailers, and I'm seeing it again in everything. So go ahead and give them our thoughts on yellow, Jen.
Okay, so once again, when we say there's an orange for you, there is definitely a yellow for you, but you gotta be really, really careful of what the yellow is. I feel like because there's not as big of a range. Like orange has a big range. Orange can go from a yellow orange, almost yellow, basically almost yellow, to all the way over to the coral, right? Yellow is definitely a shorter spectrum. So when I say that's a yellow for you, okay. For those with cool undertones, you're gonna want to keep it acidy, a little sharp, like a lemon yellow, that kind of a yellow. The lighter you are, the lighter the yellow. If you think bright yellow is too much, just wear a lighter version of it. And I think it's going to look fabulous. And if you have warm undertones, honestly, that sharp yellow might feel cool on you. You actually want to go more golden, a little bit more that warmer, toasty, sunny yellow, marigolds, golden yellows, that kind of a thing. And there is definitely a difference between that sharp, clear yellow and then a warmer yellow. So that is my spiel on that. That butter yellow, it's a little warm, right?
It's warm, it's creamy, it's a little milky.
Yeah,
So I think it works better for light palettes, light and soft. I don't think it's going to be great on a soft warm deep or bright warm deep.
right.
But here's the thing about yellow that people miss, I think, and you're going to totally agree with this. A lot of people, even with a cool tone eye color, like my eyes are green, they're very green. They're on the kind of a little bit between Kelly and Hunter.
Hmm.
But if you get deep diving down around in there, digging out in the sunshine with a magnifying mirror, you're going to notice there's actually some amber in there. And we see this with people with blue eyes will sometimes have a little bit of yellow, a
Yeah.
little bit gold. It's very, very common. And so when I think that's why yellow can be so beautiful because it suddenly ties into that. And especially if you have any tinge of a tan. Now, if you're very, very fair and you don't tan, you've got to stick to those creamier colors to lay prettily on the
Yeah.
skin. But here's the way I like to describe it too. Like our soft yellows, we're talking about like banana cream pie, lemon pudding. It's got a little milk in it. But when we're talking about those sharp, bright colors, like that look good on a bright cool, we're talking about lemon meringue yellow. Think about that inner layer of jelly yellow that's
Like a
really
lemonade. Even a lemonade is a
clear.
good, yeah.
Yeah, it's got that clarity. There's no milkiness to a
Yeah.
lemon meringue middle. So that's a good way to tell the difference. And then if you go outside and look at like the deeper yellow marigolds,
Mhm.
that's a great color for deep and warms. Now there is a bright yellow marigold that is kind of in the middle there.
Yeah.
Just got to try it and see what it does for you. But it can really make your eyes dance because it does play with the subtleties in your eyes. Unlike most colors, it's a really, you're missing out if you don't grab it. I'm also seeing a lot of, I forgot what Pantone called this color, but it's this deep, very warm brown. it's got some
Yes.
orange.
And it's
Uh,
not the mocha mousse, right? It's more of just a chocolate
Ooh.
brown. It's just a warm brown. And it is definitely, even I know this because it's trending not only in retail clothing, it's also trending in interiors. Like it is, brown is having a huge moment right now across the board.
And that happens every few years. I remember one time Oprah Winfrey came out in a brown lipstick on her show, and brown became everything. But this brown is very, very warm, and
Yeah.
it looks very, very good in textures.
Hmm.
And that's what we're seeing is linen in these woven sweater pieces. And it brings in those natural elements that we relate to summer, like Bombay Company kind of feel, I
Yeah.
always
Yeah. Yeah.
say, of India kind of feel that it's a very, very rich brown. Now, could a cool wear this? If you're a cool that tans very well, like I would wear it if I was very tan and I would change up my makeup. But that's if you're light and cool, like you're blonde hair, blue eyed, probably not.
Yeah.
It's
No.
a deep, very rich color. But if you have warm and deep coloring,
Mhm.
bright or soft, you can wear this. And it becomes a great neutral background for things.
It's, I mean, honestly, it makes me excited about this summer palette because if listeners, if you haven't noticed, Gail's already listed two different colors that seem to be colors that you would wear normally in the fall and winter, those russet oranges and this deep chocolate brown. And yet it's showing up for summer. Now, summer, obviously in our hemisphere for warm weather. So it is, I think really the idea of color warm summer colors have to be bright and light that feels that's true, but honestly we're seeing all these deeper richer colors come in. I think it's just a trend that is debunking that myth. I kind of love it, kind of
It
love it.
feels like rich people tropical. That's
Yes.
what it feels like to me.
Yes,
It's
that's
not
exactly right.
not Lily Pulitzer. It's not Panama City
Yeah.
1983. It is a very luxe look.
Yes.
And we're also seeing along the lines of Luxe in the spring. We talked about this fisherman trend, and we're
Yes, the
seeing
film.
that rusty red show up, that
Hmm.
sun washed. It's a deep red, but it's like if you put deep red paint out in the sun and it weathered a little bit, got a little softer.
Yep.
And for those of you who are warm, and we've got these Memorial Day and the 4th of July coming up, that's a great red for you. Tell them
Yes.
why, Jen. Tell them why.
Well, well, when you asked the question, I'm also thinking about the cool undertones because I have something to say about that. But the warm reds. All right, so you're going to hear me. I'm a broken record, but it's so important to understand if you any color that has that warmth, meaning it has a yellow undertone in it somewhere, whether it's a tomato red or it's, those golden yellows. All those colors are always going to look good on someone with warm undertones. And I use the word always. Oh, someone's going to probably disagree with me, but in general, those warm tones always look good on warm undertones. It doesn't mean it can't work well on cool undertones. It just depends on where you are on that spectrum. If you can imagine at the top of the clock at noon, right? That's your perfectly balanced red. Super neutral, meaning that doesn't really read warm or cool. It just looks good on everybody. You tip over a little bit more to the warm side, like that rusty reds and those warmer reds, much better on someone with warm undertones than cool. However, if you get someone like Gail who gets tan and you get a lot of warmth in that skin, that rusty red's going to look good across the board. So there you go. Do you agree?
Yeah, and
Disagree?
it just ties into that whole trend. And I
Yeah.
know sometimes people don't see that the trends and the colors actually go together. But when you think of New England,
Yes.
fishermen, those big fisherman sweaters, that kind of washed out color palette, it's
Yeah.
washed out blues, washed out reds, it's cream. It's it's that kind of feel. But now very close to that, a cousin to that is going to be this almost washed out rose color I'm seeing.
I've
It,
seen this color. Joe brought home a shirt in this color.
it's very pretty and very wearable for a lot of people because it's really in that whole middle ground where a lot of women who, especially if you're not sure about color and you're not overly confident with style, it's one of those it's in that safe zone of color. It feels non-threatening. And it's like if you took rose and added maybe a touch of warmth and some white. Would you agree? That's the color we're talking
I
about.
did,
Some
you
dark,
described it
dark, dark, dark
beautifully,
salmon.
but I have seen, I think maybe a lighter version of what you've been seeing, and it's almost fleshy. And I gotta tell you, I actually don't dig this color. It's, I think it's a hard color to wear. It
Yeah,
feels
I'm seeing one that's deeper. It's
okay.
almost if you imagine a cross between salmon and coral and a
Yep.
deep version of that.
Okay. So I've seen a lighter version. There's a lighter version out there, by the way, then. Maybe you've have even gotten to that, but there's a lighter one out there that's very fleshy. And I just don't think anybody, I mean,
I
I
even
don't
found
love
this
it
in
at
a
all.
suit. And when colors come out in a suit, that's pretty telling of how popular the color is because suits are a different animal. They don't make suits in every single color under the
Mhm.
sun. So when they make a suit, they're going to know people are going to buy it.
Because it's head to
And
toe,
it's
right?
one of those major women's retailers came out in a suit in this color. And
Okay.
I gave it to so many of my clients and I gave it just to explain the way I work is I link clothing for my clients. And sometimes when I find something really good, it's linked to several of them because it worked for so many people. It has a
Interesting.
softness to it, but it has depth, which I really like. And that sometimes it's hard to find because along with softness, sometimes comes lightness.
Yes.
We don't always need light. We have clients who have softer coloring, but they have some medium to deep tones and they
Mhm.
need rich. They need colors that are saturated. Is there a better way to explain that scientifically, Jen? You know,
Scientifically, no,
yeah, I'm out here talking
perfect.
street.
I usually, yeah, I know she does, but I usually use the word to presence also, as in the color just needs some presence. It needs like to be there are colors that are watered down, right? They're lighter, they're softer, and if you are someone who needs color, like because of your color type and your natural coloring, those watered down colors are just going to make you look watered down and off. Just won't do anything for you. You can do so much better. So you want those colors that are very rich and very saturated. They have presence. Like, oh, like that's like, like what you're wearing. You're wearing, so if anybody's listening, can't see Gail, but she's wearing a very
I was
bright,
always wearing a color with some presents.
some
But
presence.
I'm
Gail
bragging.
herself has presence, so she
I'm
can't wear anything
practically,
watered down.
if y'all saw me in some mousy washed out colors, I would say, sweetie, sweetie, go back, come and try again.
Or you ask her how she's feeling. Are you feeling
Yeah, are
okay?
you well? Are you unwell? But this color too, I imagine this color, if we started with rust and we added white to it, we would
Yeah.
get to this
I think
color.
you're
That's
the way you're describing it, well, to me, in my head, I get it. I can totally see it. So,
because remember, guys, when we take that rust, we start adding white,
yeah.
even though rust is a warm color. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of it right
Okay.
there.
So again, listeners, if you can't see the video, come out to the YouTube to see it. I'm pointing at a flower on my blouse that I think describes the color that she is
Yeah. It's
mentioning.
in the pink family. It's a bit
Yeah,
warm,
this
but
one.
it's very deep and very soft for a pink. And it's odd we don't have a name for it right off the bat. We usually have a name for everything because it's just a color I've not seen a lot
Right.
of in anything other than maybe blush and eyeshadow is a color you would see there, that kind of pigment because it's got a little warmth to it. So really pretty. Again, it's going to be better in a texture or even something with a sheen. Now, flat cotton, I don't see that looking so hot. It
Maybe
needs a little,
linen might be really pretty.
yeah, because that's giving it some texture.
Yeah.
And let's just go back. We've said this before, but in case you hadn't caught every episode of our just
Um,
spellbinding, podcast series here. Um, linen is having a moment. So we'll talk about this, some of our
Yep.
styles. But I want people to understand this is not linen being worn like Mississippi burning serious suits kind of linen. I'm not talking about that vein. I'm not talking about Charleston and plantations where the pants are standing up by themselves. The linen we're seeing today, yeah, you can see some of that, but it's washed, it's washable, it's got other fibers in it. It doesn't have to be pressed to standing up. It's casual because people are like, I just don't know about linen. It's not stiff. Like I got a pair of culottes, which Can I
Love
just say
culottes.
my favorite pair of pants? Love a culotte, or some people call them a gaucho. If you don't know what we're meaning, we're talking about a little shorter than a crop. It's just below the knee, maybe halfway down the calf at most, but it's a wide leg, and it's tapered at the waist and gets wider going down, and you just sashay in a room when you wear these culottes, is my feeling. So I got a pair in a white linen. It may be a blend, but I just toss them in the washer, hang them up to dry. I could literally wear them like that. And I usually do run an iron over them or steam them, but no starch, none of that
Don't
nonsense.
do that.
And I can literally just wear them as they are, and they're so soft and comfy, and they have pockets too. So I mean, come on. So if you withdraw a little bit when we say linen, you think, oh, I can't do that, then rethink it. Rethink
Oh yeah.
linen. Linen.
Linen's like my go-to for the entire warm season. So
So I'm going to talk a little bit about some styles, and I'm sure some other colors will pop into my head as I go. But along with the linen, you got to understand style doesn't typically live in a vacuum, style or color. So linen coming along with that, we're seeing some of these, what I call maybe more romantic and a little bit preppy, sometimes juvenile feeling fabrics like gingham. I've seen several things in gingham. Check. I've also seen eyelet lace multiple places. And like I was shopping this weekend, a, a very nice brand offered me some free things, and I was shopping their site, and I'm talking, girl, that'd be the most expensive pieces to come into my wardrobe when they show up. It's kind of funny, but they had eyelet. And I'm like, okay, if that's here, that's really getting into high end. So I'm not talking this is your Target, Kmart eyelet lace. It is being used in a lot of ways as a trim. I've seen it on the bottom of dresses. I've seen it on sleeves. I've seen entire garments.
yeah, so it's actually a whole garment, right? Hmm.
Yeah, you might even find it in a bathing suit. So let me just say it doesn't suit every personality. If you're romantic, knock yourself out, girl. This will go
Hmm.
right with your little frilly clothes, your little easy prints. Those of us who have a more edgy style, I'm sorry, I've got to be so fuzz in my lip gloss or something. It's you would have to really come up with a creative way to work that in. Now, you classics, if you go all the way on a classic summer look, like a deep Charleston kind of look, yeah, you could do a little white gingham dress and some little Mary Janes or a cute sandal and a classic bag, and that'd be a very classic look. It's a little too sweet for me
A
because
little
it
too
no,
sweet for me. I don't know.
you think it is or it is not.
I think it's a little sweet for me, and I like classic. But you said dress, and I can totally see that fabric transforming into a dress. Totally get that. But if it's just a really cute top, I'd wear it. I'd wear it
Yeah.
because I
I
need a
would
little
wear more
balance.
like to wear it as a dress because that's the way edgy people work. We'll take something that shouldn't be for us, but
Mm.
because it's overdone and it's the whole dang dress, then we can do it and we put a funky shoe with it.
I was gonna say put
So
a fun shoe with it. Yep, that's exactly what.
yeah, we could make that work. But just a cute little detail on my
Mhm.
shirt. The
Yeah.
minute I blow up that screen and see that, it's going to be a no for me. But I have clients who would be, oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And along with that, we're seeing some ruffles, little tiny ruffle details, like just along the very edge of the opening here or the sleeve. I even saw shorts that I had it this weekend, tiny little ruffles. Yeah, Jen's
I
got some
love
ruffles.
ruffles. I'm not a romantic style kind of girl, at least I don't think I am, but there is one thing that definitely translates. Love I love sleeve details and ruffles. I don't know why. I just it makes me happy.
Know what you are. You are a mess. We got to get you straightened out. That's what we got to do. But along with that, I'm also seeing other versions of lace, like lace overlay. I've seen like the whole, like for a very dressy evening affair, even for summer, we're seeing that. I've seen the black lace of the nude underlay, but I've also seen tonal. One brand in particular did like a jacket and skirt in a beautiful, like dark lavender, dusty purple jacket and skirt, and it was a lace, a sheer lace, but the underlay was the same color, so it was tonal.
Interesting. Yeah.
It was very
Sounds
pretty, but for
formal.
a very specific woman.
Yeah.
And some of these things you have to remember too. Oh, that's beautiful. But if you're a person that's working on a limited budget or you just
Yeah.
can't have a lot of
Not.
pieces, something like that that is that stunning and different is going to be remembered. So just remember that. That's a little extra tip for all four of you that while you're shopping, if the more outlandish or the more beautiful the piece is, the more it's likely to be remembered. So if you're trying to live in a capsule wardrobe or things like that, or you dressed and see the same people all the time, like you're going to that same office every day, just remember things like that that may not be as easy to mix and match, because when you take a texture like that, that's such a bold texture as that lace, sometimes when you put that with a pattern, it can feel a little disjointed. It can work sometimes, but I know a lot of my clients are very averse to that much going on. That just feels too much. I would wear it, but I'm edgy. So if they're classic, they're gonna not. So when you're buying a suit like that, unless you have a lot of suits, that's probably not the one to buy, even though it's beautiful. Now, could that jacket be worn with white jeans?
I was
Oh
gonna
yeah.
say you can take the jacket and use that probably a little
Yeah,
bit
I would
more.
probably do the jacket more than the skirt if I was going to do one piece. But alas, that's how we wind up at retailers with only one of the pieces we need with our clients because somebody bought only the jacket.
Right. You know, and that, by the way, this is a really important takeaway for our listeners, which is when you're shopping, unless you've got an unlimited budget and you just don't care, you go in with a strategy and go in with a little bit of a critical mind and double check yourself when you see something that you fall like you love that suit that Gail described. It's gorgeous. I want it. But if you're on a limited budget and you're trying to create a wardrobe that really works for you, that may not be your best choice when you can take that and go buy three other pieces that do work together in different ways with what you already have in your closet. So we're not saying don't buy one-offs, just be careful
Very
when you do.
yeah, you got to know your budget and know your system. Now, I'll just give you a little insight. When I work with my clients, we have a process, we have a method. It may seem I'm so crazy that there's no process, but there is a method to the madness. And we basically start with a trio of colors, maybe a quad of their best colors. And we build out from there. And I'm going to make sure, like, if she's warm and she's an office girl, that she's got slacks in her best warm colors.
Right.
I'm going to make sure she's got some of those things that we build out from, rather than we go to a store and just grab a bunch of crap and make it work. That's how you wind up with a disjointed wardrobe, even when it
Yeah.
is in your color and style. You've got to build this out. Now, sometimes I do collect things, and I do tell my people all the time, if you find a great piece that's your style, your color, your size, everything about it is perfect, you need to get that when it's available. Because if y'all been listening to this
True.
podcast more than 5 minutes, you know that retailers run in cycles. Things are not always available when you need them. And when you find that great piece, like if I find a great black pant, great price, great style, great shade, that thing's going home, because the day I decide my other black pants are right and need to go and I go out to find them, I will not find them. So there are times to pull the trigger, especially on your great basics. But one mistake I see people make that love clothing and that are my heavy duty shoppers and love those special pieces, you can make the mistake of buying too many special pieces, and those special pieces don't always play well with everybody else. You've got to have those basics mixed in. That basic neutral pant, the tank, the turtleneck. You've got to have these boring pieces in there to make those special pieces shine and
Yep.
give you that mix and match ability. Special piece with special piece doesn't always work. There's got to be, and some of my clients that really love fashion, they don't like buying those basics. I put it in there and they don't even heart it. They just keep scrolling, looking for my next amazing piece. And I'm like, we need this. So I started putting little things in there. This is for layering. This is for this. We need these camel
You know,
pants.
this applies. So if I'm an artist, right? And one of the things that people might assume when you're creating art is that you're gonna pick all the beautiful colors you want to paint this landscape or a thing of flowers or whatever it is you're going to create. But the reality is that you have to be a master of neutrals. because the colors that you've chosen pop off of those neutrals and become the center stage. It is the same for anything from interiors to clothing. And it's what you're
Makeup.
saying. It's not, we're not even, yeah, and makeup, exactly. And we're not just saying, oh, it's about color. It doesn't have to be color. It can be a neutral piece, but if it's a special piece, you want that piece to be up against the quote unquote neutral background, which are your foundational pieces. And it doesn't mean that they're necessarily not color, but like Gail said, they're not jumping out at you. So they can be that beautiful backdrop, so that beautiful blouse you've picked up. Now, wow, is a wow factor versus oh, she's wearing those crazy patterns again, that's great, so really important to understand the power of that foundation,
I know
whatever it
it's
is.
always fun, especially if you're looking at your budget. You're like, I just spent all this money and I'll have her beige tanks and bottoms. Trust me, just trust me. And that is one place I will tell clients they might pick up more than one in the same color. I'm usually not a fan of multiple purchasing like that because it can get boring quick and you don't get credit for having as many clothes as you do. But like if you have a nice smoothing tank, and these are tanks that are dressier, they tend to have
Yeah.
some stretch and some sheen. They're very beautiful undersuits. We need those. Yeah, if you find the one that's great, get it in all your colors. In fact, one retailer that's my favorite, but they're always sold out, sells one that has a V on the front and a scoop on
Yes.
the back, and it's
Yes.
reversible. But they're always out. Shame on them. Like I have no problem my client going and buying that in cream, camel, and rust or whatever, olive, whatever.
Yeah, buy them all because if you have a foundational piece and one of your best neutrals, it will go with all or most of all of your colors. And so that's why it works for you. You don't have to stress like what am I going to wear with it? You already know. You already have the pieces in place.
Yeah, it's those pieces are great and they're just sitting there waiting to do the work, the heavy lift that they
Oh, I want
need.
to go shopping now.
Okay. So, some really fun things going on right now. We've talked a little bit about vests and waistcoats, and girl, they are going harder than I ever expected.
I see them in all the catalogs I'm getting now in the mail. Oh my
Everything,
gosh.
everywhere. And here's the thing, people look at it and they see one vision. Like I have a lot of clients who'll say, I don't want to go sleeveless. I'm like, sweetie, you have missed the point that we're not wearing it like that. We're going to put it over a beautiful blouse, or we're going to put it over a t-shirt
Yeah, a
even.
t-shirt's cute. Mhm.
There's so many things we can do with these, and they can be very figure flattering. The key is going to be length,
Yeah,
proportion. And some of them are shaped where they cut in like a man's suit vest,
they
and
do.
some of them come all the way to the side, which can actually be a very flattering cut. Even if you think your arms are little something, something, I'd rather you go sleeveless than a little cap sleeve. Cap sleeve, I think, are awful, and they only belong on two people on the planet that have these perfect arms, but totally sleeveless can be more flattering than a little cap sleeve.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, just like skirts, own it. Like it's your body, and if you're not like if you don't have perfectly toned arms, so what? Because who cares? Wear the vest without. I mean, I love the sleeveless look, especially in that vest look. I think it is such a great classic look, and a classic is definitely obviously
And this one
right.
shape actually looks like you took a jacket and took the collar and sleeves off. It's like longer, it's more
Yes.
substantial, there's more coverage, maybe a little more appropriate for an office. But y'all, what I'm finding is my clients who live in warmer climates that have to dress very professionally, this is an amazing option because it gives them that great third piece. A lot of them are made in lightweight fabrics like linen or a cotton or something very lightweight, but they are so cool. We even have ones that come up with a mandarin collar, some type of closed tight fitting collar here. I mean, we have them that kind of split at the bottom in a real
Yeah.
cool way. And so these can be, I hope they stay. I hope they become a summer staple because jackets are hot in summer. Anywhere you
I have a feeling it's gonna transcend straight into the fall and winter as well because the layering piece you can wear it underneath something else. I can't wait to see how these things are going to be styled come the colder weather also.
That's the other thing we've done with some people. they wear the vest like a shirt, and then they put a jacket over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No shirt, no blouse. Very cool look. And I did a look with one of my clients. We were dressing her to go to another office where she had some pretty high level meetings.
Mhm.
And we did a top, jacket, and pants all in a beautiful, deep astronaut, oceany kind of blue, head to toe. It
Mm.
was, well, I say to toe, head to ankle. But then we threw a leopard print or cheetah print belt and a
Yes.
camel pump and tied in the leopard print to her jewelry. She looked stunning. What
Yes.
this did for her body.
It don't everything. It was absolutely beautiful. It was very well done, Gail.
And she
Good
wouldn't
job.
mind me sharing, she's pear shaped, but she has a teeny tiny little waist up high. But the way that jacket hung in gray,
Everything. It was
from
very
shoulder
pretty. It was
to
very
below
elegant.
the hip,
Mhm.
the color just set it off. And that's the way you do cheetah classy. And that's the way you wear cheetah into a boardroom was that suit. But it was, you could do that same look when you do the vest, the jacket, and the pants, or the vest, the jacket, and the skirt. You create that monochromatic look, or you can just create a column with a vest and skirt or pants in the same color, and then do a different third piece so that the vest is the second piece, and then you add a third piece. But don't bypass these things. They're everywhere, and they're in some beautiful colors like that deep, dark, rich brown. One of the major vendors, I can't even think of one right now, has got a whole collection in that, in like that rich brown, warm linen. Divine. Divine. Now, I'll tell you one thing that has started to pop up that I'm a little concerned about, and that is the capri pant.
The what?
The capri pant. I mean,
Oh,
full on straight leg clam digger situation.
that is okay. I've seen that just about every single year. It's not my favorite thing. I don't like pants that look like they're just too short and not designed to be short. They make you look shorter.
No, I'm talking about the ones, not a crop. I'm talking about right below the knee and pencil shape.
Oh, I misunderstood. I apologize.
Old school capri pant. Shady Acres capri
Yeah,
pant.
I was gonna say it feels a little dated.
Let's explain it. Anytime you're wearing something that is a pant and it is smaller at the knee like that and stops and then widens to your hips and waist, ladies, you
Yep.
have created a problem. You have made yourself look bigger than you are. The only body shape that looks like is the little thin, wavy, tiny, tiny, non-curvy, because it's going to make your midsection look larger. And I
Yep.
have exactly zero, I think, women in my client base, and I have a lot of clients that say, I'd like my midsection to look large. Hey, can you make me look like I'm around standing on two sticks? And because it stops there, now people say, well, what about boot cut? They came in. Yes, they come in. We don't want them to come in severely, but they also flare back out.
Yes, they put back out. I mean, you balance. You need balance.
These don't. They stop right below the knee. Y'all, it's
I don't think
not
I've seen this. I haven't seen
new.
this.
It's appeared in the last 2 weeks. And I was like,
Mm.
also, the version of that is a Bermuda short,
Yeah,
but it's a narrow leg Bermuda short. Y'all, if you want to look like you're big in the middle, have a wonky shape about you, go put those on. They're just not good on most people. But leads us into Bermuda shorts are having a moment. The Bermuda short is a very wearable length, and it's great for women who are a little concerned about that jiggle wiggle in their thigh, or maybe they got a little ripply dipply going on up there. Get over it. We all do. I was looking at one of my friends the other day who literally is probably maybe a size 2 on her fat days, and she's a rabid exerciser. She has a little dimpling on the back of her legs. Y'all just get over it. It's there.
I
Her
agree.
Bermuda shorts often come down below where our um, the things we don't feel good about are. Now, you don't want to come all the way to the knee. You need several inches of leg between for
Which is why
proportion.
I don't really understand why it's called a Bermuda short because isn't traditionally Bermuda shorts come down almost to the knee,
They're
don't they?
definitely longer version because
Yeah.
typically regular shorts come in 5, 7, and 9 inch lengths. Those are standards in the industry. Sometimes you see a 3 inch, but girl, if you're listening to this podcast, we be on inches, most of us, unless you are, 5 foot. So we're talking about getting into the 9 to 11, 12
Yeah.
inch length, maybe even a 13-inch length, depending on how tall you are. But the key to making that really look good, do not let it come to your kneecap. You
Yep.
want to show some leg there. And they often are generous in their sizing. So they can actually work for our pear shaped girls because you have room, kind of like that concept with the boot cut, you have room for it to regroup. So by that, I mean, that short has space to come over your hips and then hang a little bit.
Hang straight. Yep. Yep.
So it's not stopping at your widest point. And they come in flat front. They're coming in pleated. I've seen them in linen. I've seen them in all kind of fabrics, twills, colors, patterns. And if you are in a casual office environment, this whole thing of the shorts suit,
Yes.
cute, still trending. They're wearing the Bermuda short with the vest, the Bermuda short with the blazer, which, hello, 1980, bring it
I
back.
know. So I was about to say, like, do you remember? Do you remember when you could wear
Middle
shorts and it was
school,
considered
baby.
dressy? Yeah.
I had a Madras plaid type blazer and pink Bermuda shorts, and that was my favorite. I wore it with this little shirt that had a little fluffy collar. I was so cute in that outfit. But
What is your opinion about wearing pantyhose with shorts for like the office?
I really don't want you to. Really
Because
don't want
the
you.
reason I bring it up is that, well, first of all, once upon a time, that is
Well, now
exactly what we
I'm
did.
gonna contradict myself, but go ahead. Contradict.
But like when I was out in Europe with my son this 2 weeks ago, I noticed it before, and I don't know if it's across Europe or just in Germany where we were, but women consistently wear pantyhose with their shorts. You do not see bare legs walking around, and I just found it really interesting. I was just curious.
Europeans are a little more refined,
They're
and that's
no, yeah, it's absolutely a European thing. We don't see that here in the US for like at least not like that. But I'm just
well,
curious.
we are seeing something that is a style trend I've probably never seen before. This came in during the winter, and it was either a very short, like almost a hot pant, or a brief. Yes, I said a brief
I just use my
with
face. I just can't.
hosiery with tights.
Oh, okay.
So women were wearing very short shorts in the winter, a tonal tight, like black on black, like it might be a black leather
Okay.
short, black tights, or a pretty opaque hosiery, mid sheer at the most, and like a boot or a pump. That is the look right now. And you could do that in summer and do like a pastel, like it's a pastel short with a pastel tight, but it's going to be monochromatic. Now, that is for the most voguey vogue of our girls out
I was
there.
gonna
Most
say,
of you are not going to wear that.
no.
But if you really wanted to do it, here's what I would do. If I was going to wear, like, say, a tweed, some type of short that's in the warm family, and I really wanted something on my leg, I would do a nude fishnet. Give it some open space, let it feel not enclosed and too uppity. But I would not wear that with a sandal. Y'all,
Yeah,
no,
don't do
no, never, never. That's not a thing ever going to be. But let me back up and say this. There's so many options now for your legs, girls. There is a great product that is a leg makeup that goes on with this big brush. And then when it's dry, it's waterproof. You can also, if you're in a pinch, mix a little of your CC cream in with your body lotion, smear that in. Sunless tanners are amazing at hiding a multitude of things you don't want to see on your legs. So there's even instant spray-ons. So if you're just concerned about that they're colored, they're uneven, we got some things we don't really love, a little bit of color on there does help a lot to camouflage a lot of that.
that.
So I'd rather you skip the hosiery because it can quickly go geriatric.
Yeah, we have to when what I saw is definitely not geriatric, but like very pretty, like
High end
like
business.
yeah, high end, yeah, high quality with
Yeah,
a
if you were
sheen
going
on
to the
them. Yeah.
office and you were wearing a suit, a short suit, and you wore, but now let me tell you, let me just stop right here. Give you a little note about pantyhose. There are pantyhose, and girl, there are pantyhose. Like for instance, I went to speak in New York recently, and I was on a panel. And one of the ladies on the panel was a very esteemed judge from the Southern District of New York. And this lady, she's no spring chicken, but girl had some style. And I sat there and I looked at her hosiery and I could tell she had on hosiery, but there was that moment that you're saying, does she have on hosiery?
Right.
I mean, the match to her natural skin tone, the
Yes.
opacity, the sheerness, the texture was perfection. Now, goodness only knows what she paid. Those are probably $40 pantyhose because they weren't nubby, they weren't naughty, they didn't have one single pick run. They
That's kind of my point. That's what I've been seeing. That's what I saw. I mean,
stunning.
these are young women walking around with pantyhose and shorts. This is not like, oh, it's only the older crowd. No, it was across the board. And it was just, I know it's a European thing, but I just wonder if shorts are becoming a thing in the office. I'm just
And
curious
you
if
may see it
pantyhose will be
because some
too.
people are going to feel that way, but just y'all, if you're going to wear hose,
We're
get
nice ones. Yeah.
and make sure you're really getting the right color and that opacity is correct. And sometimes they're expensive, but if it looks like those kind your mama got that came in an egg
Don't
down
do
at
that.
the
Don't
local
do that.
grocery, that's a no. If the color on it says suntan, probably a no. And I just remember sitting there and looking at her. She was to my right, two chairs over, and I was just looking at her leg. I'm like, that is just, I'm always impressed when somebody is so good at something because there's a lot of, there, I used to say there's a lot of hosiery out there, but actually good hosiery is kind of got hard to find. But there's some high end hosiery
High
companies
end.
doing really good hosiery, some that don't rip and run and tear too. So you're just going to have to look a little harder because a lot of department stores have actually kind of taken that department out because no one was buying
I
it.
think,
So
yeah, I think probably that's very true in the US.
it's going to be
It's just not
on.
something that we do. Yeah, barely.
So where were we? We were talking about shorts and these Bermuda shorts.
Shorts because
I'm not seeing a lot of cuffs on them. They're usually kind of without the cuff, but I do love a cuff. And that can work like a wide leg pant does for your body. It can make your
Mhm.
waist look very small. It's a little wider than your leg. So that makes your leg look a little thinner compared to the width of the leg, the hemline, the opening. And you can wear these with so many things. You can dress them up. You can wear them with your loafers, your sandals, and something else that's coming back. I'm telling you, 1980 is killing it here. Boat shoes, dock shoes, like dockers, like whatever you call them.
Yeah.
What brand? The original, just boat shoes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know, yes. I hope everyone can see it in our head.
Tobago was the brand we had. That was, those kind of things.
Yep.
And in fact, one of my clients just got one of them because they're getting a boat. And I'm like, well, then you need boat shoes, and we got
They're getting the
there, and
boats. They need
they're
boat shoes.
coming. It's coming. But see, this is what we talk about all the time about how fashion is cyclical and it doesn't live in a vacuum. It usually comes. It's a reference to a time, and so it makes sense that you're seeing blazers, Bermuda shorts, dog shoes, all here together.
I mean, the thing is the one thing that I've noticed over the last year come that's now becoming normal to our eyes, but was kind of shocking at first, was just the looseness of the clothing. Like 5 years ago, we had skinny jeans and well-fitting jeans and this, everyone's wearing their workout pants out, and they still do that. But now we have this much more loose-fitting pants, especially, and that is just a 80s coming back full force with all that everything's loose. It feels like everything's oversized or it's getting there quickly.
We do see a lot of like pipe straight pants with a tie waist, like especially in linen,
Hmm.
um, and lighter twills, cottons, things like that. That's a very popular look right now. And that's what I'm saying about that linen. It has a softer, more casual look about it right now. Now, if we circle back to a style that we mentioned earlier, I want to spend a little minute on because there's some unique things going on there. Is that New England fisherman kind
Yes.
of thing? It's not quite nautical. It's definitely this old fisherman feel, this lobster boat kind
Yep.
of, never been on lobster boats. So just coming up with the words that come. And one thing we're seeing is the return of the fisherman sandal, but it's not just your basic fisherman sandal that's out there. But what they're doing is taking that kind of caged, flat, open, woven, and applying it to all other kind of shoes. And I mean, all kind of shoes. So I recently got in two pair. I
Of
could
course you
die.
did.
They are to die for. One is black, completely flat, but it's real cagey. I am going to return those are too big, but they are so cute. Because sometimes those of us who are bright, cool, deep do need a black shoe in the summer, but it's got to be the right black shoe or it just looks out of place. So this was real open. But the other one I got was imagine a traditional fisherman's sandal, but you give it a big lug, cushy sole.
Yeah.
And you do it in solid neon white.
That's Gail
I,
Scott. That might as well put your brand name on that. You might as well.
I'm going to post my look today because it's a shoe that a lot of people say, never kill me now. But they are so cute. Now they're a little clodhoppery, but I'm okay with that. I'm edgy, y'all. It has to be a little too much of something. These are too wide, too clodhoppery, too lug soled, and that's exactly why I love them. I'm like, because sometimes, in the summer, I get trapped up on everything I have in my closet's a sandal. Do you get there?
Do I what?
Do you like go to your closet sometimes and everything is a sandal? It's open toed in the summer.
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
there's that one day that your pedicure's a wreck and you're like, I can't wear
Yes.
that. I don't have any closed toed summer shoes. Well, these are closed toed enough. They gave me an option to a sandal that feels light and airy. But also there's sometimes where you're going and you want something a little more substantial than a sandal because it's either a lot of walking or people are going to step on your feet or it's not really clean. These lift me off the ground. They're a little enclosed. I mean, like farmer's market. I mean, they are so cute. And they're the softest leather and this cushy sole. I could walk all over Disney World in these shoes. I, I'm dead. But we are seeing things, they're getting real creative. So it's not the boring grandpa fisherman sandal, even though that's out there if you want to find it. You're looking for those elements. Because like the little black shoe I got, it has the details of a fisherman sandal, but it also has like a T-strap worked into it, almost like a Mary Jane T-strap kind of thing. And then they were really, really flat. So
Which
they're
surprises
going,
me because that's not your thing. You don't like it when they're too flat.
but these were cute. And I was like, those need to be fun.
Well, then.
And sometimes you need a little flat shoe, especially in the summer. You're just running because I got a pair of pants recently that are a cropped, they're between a crop and a capri, really. They're like mid-calf. I know some of y'all die, but that's okay that's actually one of the better parts of my body. I'm just gonna say it. I don't brag on myself a lot, but my calf is pretty good. But they have like a little bit of a boot shape, so they bail out a little bit and they come up and they've got a stretch in them. They fit like a glove, they're pull on. So that little black pant with those little shoes and just a pop of color top, I can wear that 3 times a week and be so comfortable, but still look a little bit chic because it's black and it's on trend. So yeah, the fisherman thing's riding hard. And we're seeing in a lot of nubby sweaters, open weave, but with
Yep.
a nubbiness to them, a chunkiness to them. But then they're usually very short sleeved so that you don't die. But that trend really is here. It's really here.
I personally love it. I love an open weave sweater because I'm always freezing cold in the air conditioning. So it's always a great layer piece for me to throw it over a t-shirt or something like that, especially on a
Yeah,
cruise ship.
lots of women get cool indoors, especially with us who are midlife. We have a hot flash and get sweaty, and then we get an air conditioning, and that wet sweat on our neck gets frozen. And now people think we're grumpy, but there's a reason. We're suffering over here. Suffering. Let's see what else I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of woven bags,
Hmm.
lots of woven bags, and they're open weaves with a bag insert. They're closed weaves, and they're taking what we saw like in handbags and totes and bringing it down to the little crossbody and giving it a weave. And that's just a way you do leather that feels more summery. Anytime
Yeah,
you open it up a little bit, you weave it. Um,
they're cute.
Going back to that color yellow, tons of yellow bags out there, y'all. And what could be cuter? Even if you say, I don't really want to wear this color on my body, get you a little yellow bag, girl, just a little
Ac-
pop up.
Accessories are a really, really fun way to introduce a color into your wardrobe if you're not going to wear it. I mean, what is more fun? I mean, honestly, besides shoes and fun colors, bags and fun colors. That to me is just it's just joy. Just to pick up a
It
bag.
really, I mean, it's just fun. And here's a fun trend I'm seeing with bags, and it's been kind of building, and I think it's one of those things that just may become the standard, is bags having interchangeable handles and straps. I recently
Yes,
got
mine has
a
that. Yep.
coach that I love, and it actually came with
Yep.
two designer bags I've received recently, came with multiple handles and straps. Why have we not done this before now? I
I
mean, it's
think they have, Gail. I think I don't even understand. That's not new. I
I've
don't know.
never gotten bags like that, and I have some very nice bags.
Maybe it's just the brand or something like that because I've always had it where there's like two straps, a long one and a short one, or if you're
I have
lucky,
some
even
Kate
an
Spade bags
ankle like a wrist
there.
one.
I have several. My hobo didn't come with two straps. My Kate Spades
But it
don't
could
have.
just be the style of that bag doesn't make sense in a
Could
certain.
be. Yeah, some of them are specific, or like they have. If they have a built-in handle, sometimes you don't get another
Yeah, but
strap.
even like one of my Kate Spade bags that was like a clutch, like a not a clutch, it's got the like you said, form
Huh?
handle, had a strap if I wanted to use it. I was weird, so I never
Take
used
that
it.
back. You're right. I have had that
Wait,
happen. It
wait,
was
wait,
down
ladies and
in
gentlemen, what wait?
You're right, Jen. But in a different way, I want to insert this because it is, they're taking it to a new level. Let me say this because I do remember having the two handled bag. I forget what you call that shape, and them
Yeah,
giving you a shoulder strap
yeah.
too. I'm talking about more than that. I'm talking about them coming with multiples and you can buy others. There's some brands that are really like, that's their mojo
Yeah.
is here's the bag and here's all the straps you can get. And I was even at the Coach store when I was in New York, and they had a case that had different straps that you could clip onto
And I
these bags.
kind of dig that. I it's like watch bands, like for your iWatch or Apple Watch, so you just keep swapping things
No,
out.
there's
Super fun.
different ways. Like I got that new bag. It's beautiful. I love it. But when I put the leather strap on it versus when I put the chain strap, so that's what we're seeing is more decorative straps. I guess I should be more clear. So like that old bag you got years ago that had the two handles and it came with a strap too, those were typically the same. These bags are now coming with like it comes with a leather strap, a chain strap. I had one that came with a short chain, a long chain. They're
Cute.
different sizes. But here's the tip of the week. This is the one that all four of you are going to be glad you listened. Here's your tip of the week. I went in that Coach store and I needed a different strap. I wanted a different length and chain, but what they had was very small chain, and sometimes that can cut into your shoulders, ladies. So be careful with those
I
chains.
know.
But they didn't have one for this particular bag. I just took myself right over to Amazon, and there are a million chains on there to go on your bag. So if you have a leather bag with a leather strap on handle and you want to get you a nice chain or anything else, $10 at Amazon. And I probably would have paid $60 for that at the Coach store minimum. So tip of the week, go get you some new straps, and that can change the whole feel of the bag. And what I love too is you can take, like I have one, I have one of those clear stadium bags, but it came with this great strap that's almost like a car seat belt material. You know
Okay.
what that is? Seat belt kind of material,
Yeah,
real
yeah,
thick.
yeah.
And when I want my bag to feel really secure and a little more sporty, I just take that off and put it on another crossbody. So, especially in the world of crossbodies, we're really seeing a lot of this mix and match straps. Artisan, tribal,
I
it's a
like
thing.
it. I like it.
What do you
But you
think?
know what? The takeaway for me is that just because you get an accessory, the way that with those given, the way that the manufacturer has produced it, you can always change something up to make it a little bit more special, a little bit more versatile. Uh, just playing with, just like you
It's
said,
really
just
weird
like
about that kind of stuff. Oh, that's not the way it came. Well, who cares?
right. I like it.
Nobody knows. I don't think anybody's gonna come up to me in public and say, I know this Coach bag. I
That is
know
such a, but it's such a fun way to change up even something that's not a name brand. So if you just have a simple bag, it doesn't really matter what the size is. We'll say it's a crossbody bag and you have the standard strap that comes with it. Well, go and get a, if you like brand names, go get a brand name strap, or like Gail's saying, anything that's just different with a different color maybe. And now you've completely transformed that simple little bag. So that is a really, I mean, honestly, that's a huge tip and takeaway. Have some fun
Man,
with
the
that.
four
Wherever you buy
people
that
in
strap,
the
doesn't have to be
podcast
Amazon.
just got, I mean, those four people, y'all, send
They're
us
going to be amazing.
your love notes. A few other trends we're seeing in shoes are the low profile sneaker. The sneakers are still having a moment.
Yep.
All the colors. I mean, I was at the Nike store in New York, and I was just going around taking pictures with all of them. And I posted it in our group with a color for every color type because y'all,
Love
you can find
sneakers.
brown sneakers now,
Yep.
beige sneakers, purple, lilac, any color you can imagine is out there in
Mhm.
a sneaker. And I'm here for it. And I think everybody needs that in their wardrobe. And the metallics are still having a strong
Uh-huh.
run in kind
Definitely.
of. Now, one shoe that is a classic that kind of never goes completely away, but is really just living its best life right now is the basic pump. Pumps in beautiful colors, just the classic clean.
Really?
Yeah, they're out there and they're beautiful. We're still seeing a lot of ankle straps. Um, yeah, just all kinds of fun things happening. Floral shoes, seeing a good bit of those pattern shoes, and nothing will fix up a boring outfit like a floral shoe. I
Right?
mean, got one
Absolutely.
client with a flat slingback, another one got floral pumps. They're really cute. And they really, when you're doing those monochromatic looks, to throw a shoe on there that's really got some spunk, it is really, really cool. Trying to think of what's going on in jewelry. There's nothing since we last chatted that's really grabbing
No.
my attention in
Right.
jewelry, but I think we tend to wear a little less jewelry in the summertime. I mean, I live in these hoops, so my silver bangle.
I just broke mine. So that
I
broke.
will say that I see more glass jewelry than ever, probably, which can be very pretty for summer if you want something that is different than your metals, but a little bit high end. Like I have a glass bangle and I wear it and it's lovely. I thought I would break it, but so far, and I think it's glass. This glass are really good acrylic type thing.
So,
Yeah.
listeners, as we're wrapping up and Gail's digging around in her brain, post your comments, put your questions out there for us, and let us know if there's a topic you want us to talk about. If you've got questions about anything we've talked about today or a previous episode, we want that engagement. We want to talk to you. We want to hear your voice. So when
I
you're
got
done,
one more socks, sheer socks with like
sheer socks.
Mary Jane's and pumps. It's a sheer, it's a bobby sock height, like a crew height, but they're sheer. That may be polka dot, that may be striped, that may just look like
Cute.
socks that are hosiery, but they're crew height. And that's what I think looks cute with a short. A short, the little crew sheer sock and a pump or a Mary Jane. I know it's a little out there. That's what you are seeing in the magazines and in on models for stores, especially your stores like Anthropologie and stuff. Now, even we'll do it with a sandal. Now, I'm not going there. It's got
I
to be
wouldn't
close
do
to
that. No.
but with the pump, these are really cute. I actually ordered, again, this is something you get on Amazon. You can get a 6 pack of sheer socks in a, like mine are
Now
all.
that you're saying it though, it's not the sheer socks. That's a really interesting note. But I'm also noticing in general, just wearing socks with your shoes tends to be a trend right now. Like where normally we used to see people just wearing socks, like sneakers without socks, they're almost always wearing socks. And they don't even have to be like super trendy socks. They just have to be on. Like I've
The
noticed that.
youngsters have gone
Don't
back
like.
to the crew sock versus
Yes.
the no show. Now, I'm
Right.
still a show girl for pickleball, and I still love a sneaker with no sock at all. But the
You're seeing it,
real
right? Yep.
trend is the crew. Like
Yep.
I have even for pickleball, he has some from a brand called Thorlo that are really great, and it says Thorlo up the back, things like that. The
Yeah.
old school Adidas logo on the crew sock that's really in.
Yep.
So, and I'm talking white, y'all. Just white crew socks are a thing. I
Yeah. I
don't
mean,
know.
I've been seeing them with like like high top Converse, low,
Be careful where that cuts your leg off, sweetie.
I
Come on.
know. I'm just saying,
Help that
but that I've just been seeing it. I
breathe.
don't personally find it very attractive, but it's everywhere. So socks in general. Welcome back
And
to the
that
80s,
starts for the
everyone.
youngsters. And, that's where a lot of trends start and it will spread out. But that is kind of a thing. So, y'all, if you love our content, please subscribe to our channel, but also hop over to Instagram and find us at Your Color Style, Jen Vax Creative, Gail Scott. And we have an amazing Facebook community called Your Color Style,
Yep.
where we post other content that we don't get to post here. And there's interaction with other people who are devotees or people that just want to hang out of your color style. So connect with us in all the spaces. We'd love to hear from you because you get in that Facebook group, you get on Instagram, it's easy to shoot us a little message, ask us a quick question. Don't ask us your color type. That's a sir. You might say, hey, this is blue good for me. We might say yes or no. You can ask the community, and our community is rich and it's full of women who are just trying to figure out this whole color style journey too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
until next time, go and get your Moxie on. Bye now.
Bye.